so excited to introduce you to my next entrepreneur who works from home. Her name is DEDEE CAI, who is a performance coach. And she utilizes psychology, cognitive science, and holistic wellness to help entrepreneurs get what she calls FIT. F-I-T, right? To attain those peak levels of performance in your life and your business. She believes that your self-worth is your net worth, and she's on a mission to empower women to live up to their own potential while changing the world. Don't you love that? So if you're new here, I'm Gail Bates, and I've been an entrepreneur working from home for over 20 years. I know firsthand the challenges of staying organized, managing time, avoiding overwhelm in today's fast-paced world. So on this channel, I'm dedicated to sharing with you proven systems and strategies to help you thrive while running a successful home-based business. I'm having a lot of fun interviewing entrepreneurs around the world where we just dive deep into these strategies and systems. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, because especially if you like videos learning about productivity, time management from entrepreneurs themselves who work from home. And of course, don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss any of these insights and actionable advice coming your way. Okay, here's Dedee's interview where she shares excellent tips on running your home-based business with her method called FIT. Hey, Dedee. How are you today? Welcome. How are you?
Fantastic, Gail. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, welcome. I am so excited to have you share with us your journey as an entrepreneur working from home and sharing some success tips that you have experienced in this series that I'm doing. And I'm just thrilled to have you here, and it's so lovely to meet you.
Likewise, I'm very excited with this topic, especially within the last few years. You would agree that is very relevant for us to have a discussion about how we do things. And I'm always also open to hearing about what you have to share with that too, because I know you can relate to many of the things that I'm about to share too as well. So absolutely, exactly. I'm excited for the conversation.
Good. Well, let's start off with what I love to start off with mostly is basically your daily routine. What does that look like? Do you have any rituals on how you get stuff done? Kind of walk me through your typical day.
Yes, absolutely. I love that so much. In fact, this is one of the foundational pieces that I actually train and teach my clients to do. I say foundational because everything revolves around having a schedule and having a routine. So my daily schedule on a higher level that I am operating with my 4 Fs. So those are my non-negotiables, I call them. My values, my non-negotiables, I can't live without. So that's my daily schedule. Usually starts with faith, fitness, family, and fulfillment. So those are my 4s. Specifically, yes, with my morning and evening routine. In the morning, it is for sure, I love getting up early before everyone else gets up. I have 2 little ones. I wouldn't say little anymore, but I have a almost turning 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. So they have a regular school morning rhythm as well. So I get up between 4 and 5, depends on the day. That's when I get to do my routine and my ritual. And never fails. I get up in the morning. First thing I will do is drink 1 8-ounce glass of water with Celtic salt. We can go into the specifics later why I'm like so precise with certain things, but it has a lot of minerals that we normally don't get. And it's important. I get dehydrated on a consistent basis. So I have to add more salt into my water. So I'll drink my water. I will do my faith, which is my devotional. I will do my prayers, and I'll do my meditation. I will journal, and then I'll read something or listen to something inspirational. Then I'll look at my daily to-do for what I need to get done that day. And I will pick out, and this is usually done like on a weekly basis for me anyway, but I would always confirm at the beginning of the day, what is my M.I.T? M.I.T for us is a most important task. If I could only do one thing, because I know with little ones and family and life, my husband travels 80% of the time. I'm alone with the kids and I have a full-blown business. So it's very important for me to be focusing on doing the most important things. So I would pick out during my planning session in the morning my M.I.T for the day. What is, if I could only do one thing, what is that one thing? And that
Mhm.
one thing has to be focused around what we call wealth building activities.
Mhm.
So whether it is strategizing, if it is also client interfacing, is it marketing? Is it like, what is the one thing that's really going to move my business forward? And then after that, I will hang out with the kids doing the morning routine and things like that. But that is what I do every single morning. That's my
Well,
morning
we
routine.
must be on the same wavelength, okay? Because you basically described my morning. I don't have the little kids anymore, okay?
Yeah.
But you did describe, I love everything that you're doing. I get up at 4 myself. I do the ritual exactly a little bit different to you, but it is the most important part of my day. And I'm so excited to hear more about how you do yours as well. I'm sure others that are listening to this will see the benefit of why this happens, especially when you do have a family and life is really busy. You can still fit that in, which is amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
When you get up from the kitchen and everybody's situated and you walk into your office, tell me a little bit about your workspace. How do you work from a separate office or where do you work from in your home?
So this is my office. This is the background. So this is an extra room in my house. I turned it into an office.
Mhm.
And yeah, I love being here. I have a couple of meditation pillows because that's where I also take time out for myself. I have a little reading chase over here too. Big window. As you can see, there's a lot of lights. I love it being in bright spaces and lots of lights. Fortunately, I'm in Florida too, so the sun is always out. And yeah, I love things nice and neat. I love knowing where everything is. And yeah, I like to have a separate place to be working in. And what's really also interesting too, since we are on the topic of working from home, um, I'm dressed every day as if I'm going to work.
I
That's
love
another,
it.
I want to say, really important. It may sound superficial, but I can tell you it's not. Because when I get ready and part of my morning routine of putting myself together, dropping off the kids and coming back to work, it makes me feel like I am well put together. Even, if this is for myself, but that is part of self-care, is part
Yeah.
of being professional. And just because we're working from home does not mean we wear anything. Yes, I am guilty, or maybe I agree to wear something more comfortable on the bottom, absolutely. But
Right.
I still put myself together. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I even have my kids, like they are not allowed to wear pajamas. We call it daytime clothes. When you're
Yes.
up and you're ready to eat breakfast, you take off your pajamas.
You're ready to greet the world. I love
Yes,
that.
like you need to put yourself together. And so that's another really tiny tip that I really want to say. And especially as for women too, that's
Yeah.
self-care in itself. And we have to be able to feel confident,
Yes.
when we are working.
That's the key. I think that's the key is getting up, getting dressed, looking the part. It makes you feel confident as an entrepreneur working from home. And that is the key. And so tell me, you seem like such an organized person. Do you have any little organizing tips in your office that you would like to share?
Yeah, so I literally I forget when I learned this, but instead putting everything on, for example, just a hack. Like instead of putting everything, I have a couple of things here so I can demonstrate that. So
Mhm.
instead of putting everything on a stack, you
Yeah.
have to kind of remove the top item to like get to the bottom item. So I
Yeah.
have a little thing here. I hope I can pick it up. But essentially is basically a metal rack with
Yeah.
slots.
Oh,
So
right.
you
I got one of those.
yeah,
Yes.
so instead of putting everything in a pile, you
Yeah.
basically slot
It's
even your
fine.
book. I'm just
Yeah.
using these three things very often, so I'm keeping them all here, but I would slot it into that. So it's organized. You see everything that you need. So it's kind of like the closet. Like everything is hung up, you can see everything. So
Right.
that's one thing that I would say it's really literally like when I learned that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a hack. That's like totally will be really, really
Logical, isn't it? It's kind of a logical thing. You're right, because we do. I know myself. I tend to get piles. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
and putting it in those slots really gives it more of a perspective on what needs to be done next, right? Yeah.
I only have so many hours in a day, and we all do. So I really strive to be as efficient, as possible,
Right.
with whatever that I do. Honestly, too, like I'm on a mission within the past 5 years to like streamline, honestly, my closet,
Yes.
where like
Yes.
even if I have my eyes closed, like I don't have to think about it. I just go grab the thing. So yeah, it's just like that's why the most successful people, the top 1%, like for example, Steve Jobs, you only see him wearing one thing, either
Yes.
a black t-shirt or black button down, depends on if he needs to go somewhere else, even more conservative or fancy, and jeans or
Yeah.
black pants. Like, so that way, what's really interesting is that we go through the day as an entrepreneur, we're making decision back to back. We are, because by the afternoon, we
Yes.
are already decision fatigued.
Yes. I talk a lot
So,
about that. Yes.
so
Yes.
we need to protect, our brain power for the more important things. So yeah, I'm just such a big proponent on are you efficient? I only do focus work in the morning, things like that really optimize what I have and being resourceful, and being super efficient.
And do you have any specific challenges that you have that you find, occurring, and that how do you handle them? How do you overcome them if you have any challenges as an entrepreneur working from home? What do you think?
Well, what's really interesting is, well, from a internal standpoint, meaning like me, my mindset, DEDEE CAI, what I go through day to day, is definitely procrastination, right? And
Yeah,
isolation, right?
yeah.
Because here's the thing, no one's watching me.
I
I
where
don't have someone to tell me like, hey, I'm waiting for this thing. And I'm my own boss. And
yeah,
so procrastination is something that I have to learn to master and be super mindful and aware about.
yes, yes,
And then isolation, again, because we are by ourselves. So I
right,
really find it really important to be a part of a community of some sort.
yes,
That's why since the inception of my business, I've always been a part of a coaching program or a entrepreneur community, a women's group, things like that. So that way I can stay connected,
yes,
to other women for first and foremost for coaching programs to be held accountable for
yes,
and
yes.
to. And then also just be in connection, like so that way I can get inspired, and up to speed with
And
everything that's going on.
do you connect or network out of the house as well as online?
I used to do that a lot more. And honestly, when I first started my business, that's all I did. I did in-person networking events. But
Yeah,
of course, what was really interesting is a blessing in disguise, was that I was actually looking to expand my family to have a second kid. And I
right,
was always out and about. With one kid is fine, but with the second, it's going to be very time consuming for me to always go from meetings to meetings. So it was literally 6 months before the pandemic when I said, you know what, things going to have to shift. Um,
yes,
so I'm going to have to start doing a lot of things virtually.
yeah.
And honestly, the reason why I went the traditional route of networking and doing things manually and in person is because I'm adverse to technology.
Ah, okay, that's really amazing because you do so well.
Oh my gosh. So I had to learn it. Like, well,
Well, didn't
to
we all?
get over
Yeah,
my limiting beliefs about
yeah,
technology. And honestly, the story that I was telling myself was I'm not good with tech.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that was such a lie
yeah.
until when I really started getting into it. And I gave myself literally a project to overcome this fear. And that's why we'll talk about my book later. Is literally, I was like, can I set myself a goal to launch my podcast in 30 days?
Yes, yes,
And I did that, and it was so easy. That quote is so true. It's easy until it's done, or something like that, or with that context. So, anyhow, going back to the story, I had to start building my business. more virtually so I can leverage more of my time because I was planning to expand my family.
Right.
And of course, the pandemic hits. So it
Right.
was very timely. So then I
Everybody.
was forced to learn technology. Like there's no way around that. So
But
that's
I
how
still find that it is really important to have those face-to-face connections. So, like for me, I make it a point to meet a friend or a client for coffee outside of the home, quite often, because otherwise you can just stay glued to your, virtually to your computer. So do you do any of that as well?
I do. I for in-person events, I actually go to bigger events now and then extend it. So I do more of the like a conference. Like I do those type of or retreats or business retreats and etc. Things like that. So instead of going out, more often on a weekly basis, I actually do it more so every other month or quarterly basis for sure. To basically go out there and meet other people and just basically be immersing myself in the environment for a few days,
I,
at
I think
least.
that's so important. We can, get glued to our life being in front of a computer and not make the effort. And I think that's really important as an entrepreneur working from home to actually make the effort to meet people face to face, people you've never met before or friends, whatever works. But I think it's part of being an entrepreneur that you have to be aware of that so that you don't get completely isolated, right?
Absolutely. Yep, exactly. So that's like one of the two biggest things about challenges that I have found, working from home.
Yeah. So I know you're going to have a great answer to this question. Okay. Tell us about your routines on how you stay productive. I know you've probably got some fantastic routines.
Oh my gosh. So my honestly, my routine for productivity is pretty straightforward. Like I have mentioned, I only do focus work in the morning. So that anything has to do with writing, strategic planning, consulting with clients, creative, like if I have to write content, if I have to produce and be creative, that's what I do in the morning. As you can say, we're meeting in the afternoon. Usually in the afternoon is when I need like that jolt of like energizing. I need exchange of energy. I use doing all of my meetings in the afternoon. Um, I have honestly everything on my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it does not happen.
Right.
So I'm very, I said, religious with keeping my digital calendar intact.
Yeah.
Um, I know that might sound a little crazy, but I don't like seeing white spaces on my calendar. And even if it means meditation, 15 minutes,
Right.
or
Yeah.
even it
Scheduling
means
everything. Yeah.
daily cleaning, 15 minutes, like, or it means, getting a snack.
Right. Right.
I like to know because I'm all about efficiency. So I like to know where the time drains are. Like if am I like draining any more time than I need to? Because I
Yeah.
don't want to, for me, at the end of the day, like where did my time go? I didn't do
Yeah.
anything.
Yes.
I need to account for things like that. So that's how I stay productive.
Yeah.
Because I am religious with my morning and evening routines,
Yes.
that's why I can stay focused for very, very well. You
Yeah.
have to be able to be focused enough for you to produce.
Yes. I
So
agree. I love that. I love that. It does help you stay focused when you have those routines in place, right? And do you
absolutely.
have an end of day routine from your office?
I do. I
What
do.
does
So
that
my end of day usually, honestly, is very simple. Is more of like the end of the right before bed. It's a little bit more, but right after I'm done with work, as I look at, what I have been able to do for the day. It's important that I have completed my MIT, but for whatever reason, it's not
look
done. It will
like?
be my MIT for the next day.
Yeah.
And anything that I need to shift and things like that, I look forward to the next day and I know exactly what I'm going to do in the morning. So that's basically end of the day wrap up. My evening routine is usually I will turn down mostly all of the lights in our house, like the kids kind of know. And then I will do tea. And then right before we will do reading too as a family, or I'll be reading to the kids. And then
Yeah.
ultimately, right before we go to bed, we also would share or say our gratitudes. Like, what are we thankful for?
Yeah.
And yeah, and just really being in that um place of completion, and also knowing that we've done everything that we could for the day, and that's going to be a great night's sleep, and tomorrow's going to be even a better day. So it's fairly simple, but it's like I said, it's very consistent,
Yeah.
and I'm very regiment with
Yeah.
sticking with our schedule.
I love that. I think that is, as an entrepreneur working from home, having those routines set up for you gives you purpose on knowing when and where what you're supposed to be doing, right? Do you have any kind of little productivity hacks or techniques that you use that have helped you, that you've found useful from working from home?
Yes, you probably have heard of, well, time blocking is one thing, which is meaning
Right.
and blocking out the time. It's not just that. For me, it's also doing similar activities together.
Oh,
So,
interesting. Yeah.
so, because here's the thing, I have a background of cognitive psychology, so we use different part of the brains for different things. And
Right.
that's why, and the reason why I do focus work in the morning is because we're most fresh. We are well rested.
Right.
And then I do similar activities together, meaning like anything that's, for example, if I was going to do some writing, it was literally be writing social media posts, writing emails, like it's all similar because I'm using the same part of the brain for that. So
Mhm.
same thing. That's why I do all the meetings together because it's like once we started using our words and ideas are flowing, or when we're talking, like we
Yeah.
get warmed up to that. So it's fun to do that back to back to back to back, you know?
Right.
And
I
then
love that. That's
the same
that's
thing with seeing
yeah.
clients. You want to see your clients back to back. And I have designated days where I do that. So for example, Mondays is when I do marketing activities.
Yes.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, half day in the morning is when I would allow clients sessions and things like that. And
Yeah.
then Thursday afternoon, usually Thursday or Friday, is when I do other things. That is actually fun stuff because by then I need more, like I need to basically refill my cup, right? Like I can do interviews like
Like
this.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so and then like celebrating like the week and things like that. So beginning of the week, I always focus on what has to be done. And usually, especially I now working into only working 4 days a week.
Yeah.
My Fridays usually empty. So that I can make up for certain things that I miss, and or it's just downtime. You can always have more time to strategize and
Right.
work on your business instead of in your business.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to have blank time for that.
Yeah.
And I usually do my weekly planning and things like that on Fridays anyway. So that's another hack too, especially if you are a mompreneur, stuff
Yes.
is going to happen. So make sure that you have like basically catch up time so that way you're not going to be behind. Sometimes we're like overzealous of what we need, what we can get done. You need to keep your schedule looser towards the end of the week to make
Yeah.
up for anything that you missed early on in the week.
That is
Um,
so important. I know what you have just shared is probably one of the most important areas of being an entrepreneur working from home. And I think
I never, I've learned it, so no one has to. Like I have, this is all
love
from
it.
first
I love it. You're going to love it.
firsthand.
Yes. So it's a great tip. A great tip. Okay, let's move to technology and tools. Do you have any apps or technology tools, tech tools that you use that really work for you and help you improve your productivity?
So I don't, what's really interesting is I, again, I love tech now. Once upon a time, I resisted it.
Right.
With technology, the only time that is going to work is you actually working it.
Right.
I'm just gonna say that first, because just because you have a technology tool or productivity tool does not mean that is
Yeah.
saves you everything or it's gonna work for you. You have to work the thing. And if it's gonna take you too much time to learn the thing or the tool is too complicated, there's no point to it anyway. So
Oh, God,
I
I
don't
so
believe,
believe in that. Yes, I so believe in that. Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I don't currently, I definitely, trust me, have looked into like motion, VA, or, there's AI stuff that I like, like I'm aware about.
Yep.
But to be very honest, it's keep it really simple, right? Like what works for you and what doesn't. I would say it's really literally like taking inventory of how you're spending your days. And one of the biggest piece is I'm like so big with that. That's why I told you my schedule does not have any blank spots. It's where are the time drains?
Right.
Where are the
Right.
bottlenecks in your business?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because honestly, that's how you can assess your productivity level, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I don't specifically are using any tool right now, but in terms of technology and tools that we have to use for the business, absolutely. We use Asana for a project management tool that I can use, where I can pull my team members into and they know what to do and what's not and when.
Right.
Um, and honestly, Google Calendar is so important for me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
staff, my team has access, like they have all the ladies have access to my calendar, so they know exactly where I am. Sometimes kind of like, really, your employees know exactly. Yeah,
Yep.
I have nothing to hide, but it's like that's how they would know.
Yeah.
And then, what else do
Well,
I?
I think what you've said, keeping it simple, and I love that because we're bombarded with people saying, "Oh, this is new app. You've got to try it out. This works. This is really helpful." But then you have to, like you said, you have to learn how to work the new app that's really going to help you, and that might take forever. And then when you finally get to use it. So I'm with you. I love to keep things simple. And I think the Google Calendar is probably the most important thing in all of our lives as well.
Google Docs, Google Office Suite is what we use every single day. Yeah, Asana. I mean, in terms of like the back end and things like that, we use Go High Level for almost everything else on the back end, sending emails, creating funnels, landing pages, client intake, offboarding, onboarding, things like that. Like that's our back end.
Right.
Um, but we tried not to use too many pieces of technology.
Now, do you set yourself what kind of boundaries do you set for yourself?
Ooh, that's a good one. Like I said, I have my non-negotiables that I don't deviate from in
Yeah.
terms of what I need to do. The kids and my husband know that I don't deviate from my workout routine.
Right.
That is just one thing that has to happen.
Right.
And yeah, I think I have gotten like it's like working out, right? The muscle is pretty tough now in terms of saying no on things that I don't want to do.
Learning
Um,
how to say no, I think, is a big one for all of us to use.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, even with the kids too, I intentionally don't overschedule them. Like they literally each only have one activity.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, I don't understand. I mean, I was that mom that felt guilty. Like I don't have her in karate. I don't have her in dance. I don't have her in cheerleading.
Yeah.
They don't need all of that. They just need one thing that they love.
Yeah.
And my son is learning how to swim. He loves that. My daughter does jujitsu, and that's all she does. She does that, 3 to 5 times a week, depends on, if doesn't have a lot of homework.
You're
But
right.
again, it's just really knowing your capacity. Like I said, if
Mhm.
you're really religious with your schedule, then if you
Yeah.
can volunteer or not, or like what your time schedule looks like.
Right.
But
I
I
love
say the first thing is to get your priorities straight and then do only the most important things. And then, say yes to things that really matter most.
Yeah, that's so important. Yes, yes, that is so important. Great advice for everybody who's watching this. Okay.
Yeah, I know all of this, like it's really interesting too. I wanted to also say, and whoever is listening in, all of these things that Gail and I are probably sharing and saying to you are not news.
Yes, yes.
Right?
No,
They're
I know.
not news or they're not rocket science or any of that. But the one thing that I really want to get real around is like, if you have heard these concepts before, and if they're not being implemented, the
Right.
one thing I would ask for you is to consider why. Why
Yes,
not?
yes.
Right? Because knowledge is just knowledge.
It
Without
is.
the implementation, it's useless.
Yeah. But I think
And
it's a journey. It's a journey that you're on, especially when, like we talked about decision fatigue earlier. As entrepreneurs working from home, we make a lot of decisions on our own, right? Are they the right decisions? Are they the wrong decisions? We have to go with whatever those decisions are, right? And so I think that, you've hit the nail on the head here, that it's just keeping things simple and following, following your gut probably more than anything. Don't you agree?
Yes, 100%. And to be able, since we're talking about, hearing things and tips and tricks and then, implementing, you can only come to making the right decision or even trusting yourself enough to make a decision is you have to be able to have a routine where you're taking care of yourself, for you
Yes.
to hear yourself, right?
Yes.
For you to be able to trust yourself. Otherwise, you're always going to be constantly scattered and indecision and, not setting boundaries and things like that. So start with having what I truly call it a system, because it is a system. It's a self-care system that is effective and sustainable for you.
And that's
most
so
important.
tell us about your F.I.T system while we're talking about that.
So I love that you're asking that. Yes, Fit to Profit truly has been my own personal journey with getting myself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually fit, to be profitable in my business. And that's why I'm speaking about having the right foundation with just having even a self-care system where if I don't meditate in the morning, and now I have a routine to even doing it like 3 times a day now, it doesn't have to be long. I can't not be grounded enough to make decision quickly and to stand behind my decisions.
Right.
Yeah, and it's literally could be, do you want to speak on this podcast?
Right. Yeah.
It could be, it may seem like a really simple, easy, like you should know. And guess what? If you're not in the right place to making that type of decision, guess what? It has a compound effect. Here's why. You might not like speaking to the host. You might not like having a conversation with the host. Then you might be resentful towards your staff for, not finding you the right show. And then you're mad at yourself because you didn't make the right decision. It's a trickle, like a spiral effect to something that actually is going to drain your energy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of entrepreneurs think that, oh, I just need more coffee. It's very physical. But because considering that I am a mindset coach, in addition to being a business coach, how you take care of your mind and how you protect your brain power is that much more, important.
Yes. Well, I love that, and I think that advice for our entrepreneurs who are listening today is so important, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But before I do that, my one question to you again is: how do you continue to invest in your personal development? You fit your other routines and your daily routines, but I'm talking about professional development, working on you. How do you fit that into your life?
Oh my gosh, that is also a non-negotiable. If you are a business, you should be investing at least 20% of your revenue on the business or on you, period.
Right. That's great advice.
Yeah. So that is ultimately part of my non-negotiables, because annually I would plan to see, for example, right now I'm already brainstorming about what 2025 is going to look like.
Right.
And really based on my goal, what do I need to learn?
Yes.
Right? For example, from the technology standpoint, with this all AI stuff that's happening right now, if I have a goal to automate my sales process and make it as efficient as possible using AI next year. So then that becomes my professional development program, right? To learn more about, sales and generation and automation via AI.
Yes.
So that's why it's constantly the next thing. And in addition to that, I've always been looking to see how I can be even more effective as a coach, right? Instead of having the same conversation with someone for 45 minutes, can I have a conversation for 15 minutes and get the same results, right? So it has to be also on your list of non-negotiable when it comes to professional development. Like, it's not just like self-care on a personal level. You're investing your time in yourself. Same thing with your business. So that's a non-negotiable too, of like, what do you need to learn to better yourself, to basically what we call to be excellent at your craft, right? And then what is the next level? What's the thing that you need to learn so that way you can continue to grow, your business?
I think you hit the nail on the head. And the words are, what do I need to learn? And I think that is probably the best advice you could give for professional development. And I really thank you on that. I think everybody's going to love that.
Yeah.
ask, especially as you said, this we're heading into a new year. It is time to ask that question: what do I need to learn and to keep yourself in professionally in the world of entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The question I ask everybody is how, and you've kind of answered a lot in your questions, but I like to ask it: how do you maintain that healthy work-life balance? Okay,
Oh, I
what
love it.
what is it specifically do you think you do in that work-life balance that works for you? You know, a lot of people say, well, there's no such thing as work-life balance.
There is. I would call that a myth. Here's what I mean. One of the biggest thing that we are proud to do for our client is really help them design a business model that supports their lifestyle.
Right.
And
Okay.
how we do that is literally when it comes to teaching how to strategize and plan accordingly,
Right.
is we literally come to the table with all of your personal dates first.
Uh-huh.
Like meaning, do you have birthdays? Do you have holidays? Do you have vacations planned? I know I have to work around my kids' schedule because the summer I usually am pretty light, or even this next coming year, I'm planning to take 2 months off in June and July because that's when the kids are off. So
Right.
we come to the table and design the business around our life,
Right. Uh-huh.
not the other way around. And that's why you notice my routine. It's a non-negotiable for me to get up, do my devotionals, exercise, do all of the things, and then I work.
Mhm.
So how can create that is
Mhm.
you work your work around your life.
Mhm. Mhm.
So my launches is January and basically April. And
Right.
then so that way I can finish the launch in May. They'll be done with school. I'm off already June and July. You
Right.
know, I work my launches and all of the things, my work around my personal life and my schedule. That's how you do it.
Such great advice. I think if any entrepreneur is listening to this, that's probably one of the best things I've heard in all
It's
of this
gold.
series. Yeah.
It's like people don't get, like they always think like, oh, I have to work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Who says that? No
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Like I think entrepreneurs are always looking for permission to do things their way. And I'm here to tell them all that you can have a business that works for you, but it
Yeah.
has to be what it has to be sustainable for you,
Yes.
and it has to make sense for you and know where. And honestly, I don't believe I've worked a handful, to be honest, a handful of 40-hour weeks since the beginning of my business. I
Yes.
usually now run between like 20, 25. But I run a full-time business. It's a full-time job. Like I make more money now than even when I was working 60 hours.
Yes.
So not the
Yes.
number of hours, is how productive you are, how efficient you are, how smart you are with using automations and tools and all the things that we have, access to. It's
Yes.
not that. It's definitely biggest myth I want to debunk here is you can work your business around your life and
Right.
start with that.
I love that. I absolutely love it. Okay. Now, you've written a book. Okay. What's the name of your book? Tell us about your book. And,
Yes.
and I want you to share where people can connect with you and a little bit more about your client and what type of clients you're looking for.
Yes. So The Overcomer is the title of the book, and
Ooh.
it's all about how you can conquer your fear to achieve your goals.
Okay.
I basically alluded to the concept of every obstacle is an opportunity. I've had many challenges, in my life and business, which led me to have to take care of myself, on a personal level. So that way I can serve even myself and my immediate friends and family first before I can even started to serve my clients. And this book was just wrote in a more memoir style, but it has all the frameworks and tips and tricks on how to set goals, how to be more productive, and honestly, how to manage procrastination, how to embrace all of your fear and allow that to be the catalyst for your success. You can find
It
it.
sounds like a perfect book for an entrepreneur working from home.
It is, yes. It's that's why it's under business development and self-development category on Amazon. So you can find it there. And what was the second question you said?
Oh,
How you can find me?
Yes, and how people can connect with you. And we will put all of your information in the description below. So people will be able to click on your links as well to go directly to finding your book and finding where they can connect with you. Okay.
And I think the second part to that, you were also asking, well, who do I work with? I work with purpose-driven women entrepreneurs who want to create impact in the world.
Great.
Right. And my biggest job, I feel like from my experience and having to really build myself from the ground up with really owning my self-worth, I am currently now really passionate about teaching women how to charge their worth so they can create and amplify their impact. I believe that everyone is undercharging themselves. And there is a training that we have to really zero in on teaching women how to learn about money, healing their relationship with money, understanding their limiting beliefs about money and business. So that way they can start rewiring their beliefs to what's better and really operate from abundance. And then last but not least, understand that business and profitability and success is 80% mindset.
Wow. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
That's what the program is for and is about. And our promise is that if you stay with the program and do exactly what we train you to do, you are meant to make at least 6-figure per year and beyond consistently without having to be salesy or thinking that you have to trade time for money.
Great. Well, we'll put all of that information below. Well, Dedee, I think I found a kindred spirit. Okay. I love everything that you've shared today. I really want to thank you so much for being on the show. And I know that people who are watching are going to look forward to reading your book. As I said, we'll put all your information below so that people know where they can reach you.
Absolutely.
But thanks again, Dedee. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Gail, for hosting the show. And thank you for everything that you do. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Did you learn a lot from this interview? I know I did. Dedee's book is called The Overcomer, and it teaches you how to learn ways to prioritize yourself and make strides in personal and business growth as you overcome that fear and anxiety. So I want you to check the link below to get it on Amazon. And of course, check all the links below where you'll get all of Dedee's information. Now, a great tip Dedee shared was using a desktop stacking file, just like this. Okay, you can see this desktop stacking file. What I loved about this tip was it prevents you from making lots of piles, which I have to admit, I'm a pile person. I do a lot. So I'm using this now, utilizing it a lot more after that great tip. I also love how she says you have to know when to say no and when to say yes to things that matter. Yes to things that matter. In the realm of making all those decisions, we talked a lot about decision fatigue, and I think that was a very important part of her interview. And her great advice on investing 20% of your revenue in your business on your own personal development. Most of all, I think I enjoyed how she describes her Fit to Profit business, where she teaches you how to run your business around your life so you're developing a sustainable business. You also learn from Dedee how she overcame that limiting belief that she wasn't good at tech. Remember that? So I have a question for you today. What limiting belief is holding you back from growing your business? Is it that you don't have enough time? Do you find it hard to focus? Is it the tech thing like Dedee? What is it that's keeping you from building the successful business that you envision? I want you to write it in the comments below because I'd love to hear from you. Okay, don't forget to subscribe for more interviews coming up in this series, and I'll see you on the next video.